Here's something you don't see every day. A major international tennis tournament forced to slam its doors shut on fans due to what officials are calling escalating safety threats. But this isn't just any ordinary sporting event. It's a Davis Cup match that has become the center of one of the most heated debates in Canadian sports this year. The upcoming Davis Cup World Group 1 encounter between Canada and Israel, originally scheduled to welcome cheering crowds in Halifax, Nova Scotia, will now take place in an eerily empty venue this Friday and Saturday. Tennis Canada made this unprecedented announcement on Tuesday, sending shockwaves through the tennis community and raising serious questions about when politics and sports collide. For those unfamiliar with the Davis Cup, think of it as tennis's equivalent to soccer's World Cup. It's the premier international team competition where countries battle it out for national pride. The stakes are particularly high for this match, as the winning nation earns their ticket to the 2026 Davis Cup Qualifiers, making this much more than just a regular tournament. But here's where it gets controversial. Tennis Canada didn't make this decision lightly or in isolation. Working closely with the International Tennis Federation, they cited escalating safety concerns and intelligence received from local authorities and national security agencies as the driving forces behind this dramatic move. The organization stated they were forced to conclude that playing behind closed doors was the only way to both safeguard those involved and preserve the event itself. And this is the part most people miss. The pressure had been building for weeks. More than 400 Canadian athletes and academics, including celebrated Olympic runner Moh Ahmed, had already fired off a strongly worded letter to Tennis Canada demanding they cancel the entire event. Their reasoning? They wanted to protest Israel's military actions in Gaza and the West Bank, which some scholars and human rights organizations have characterized as genocide against Palestinian people. The letter writers pointed to the staggering death toll, with Palestinian health officials confirming nearly 63,000 Palestinian fatalities. Tennis Canada found themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. In their response, they acknowledged the ongoing and deeply complex situation in the Middle East, but ultimately chose to proceed with the matches rather than cancel outright. However, they weren't willing to risk public safety by allowing spectators into the venue. The International Tennis Federation backed this decision wholeheartedly. A spokesperson emphasized that the safety of all players, supporters, and tournament staff is always paramount, explaining that Tennis Canada had carefully weighed detailed security advice before reaching their conclusion. While they shared disappointment about excluding fans, they made it clear that safety concerns trumped entertainment value. Originally, tennis enthusiasts were planning to pack the Scotiabank Centre to witness this high-stakes international showdown. Tickets had been available through Ticketmaster as recently as Tuesday morning, but sales were abruptly terminated by noon local time. Tennis Canada assured disappointed fans they would receive full refunds for their purchases, though many are questioning whether money can compensate for missing such a significant sporting moment. The matches won't disappear entirely from public view. They'll be live-streamed for those who want to watch from the safety of their homes. But the atmosphere of a live crowd, the energy that makes Davis Cup matches electric, will be completely absent. Meanwhile, some Halifax residents are planning their own response. A March for Palestine has been organized to coincide with the tennis matches, ensuring that even though fans won't be inside the venue, the political tensions surrounding this event will still be visible on the streets outside. This situation raises uncomfortable questions that extend far beyond tennis courts. Should international sporting events be canceled or modified based on geopolitical conflicts? Is it fair to athletes who've trained their entire lives for these moments to have their competitions disrupted by political protests? And perhaps most provocatively, when does ensuring safety cross the line into censoring public discourse? The decision also highlights the impossible position that sports organizations increasingly find themselves in. Tennis Canada was essentially forced to choose between completely canceling the event, disappointing athletes, and potentially facing legal consequences with international tennis authorities, or proceeding while managing unprecedented security risks. Some might argue that closing the venue to spectators was the perfect compromise, allowing the athletes to compete while prioritizing everyone's safety. Others will undoubtedly see this as giving in to pressure and setting a dangerous precedent where political tensions can effectively shut down international sporting events. What makes this story even more complex is that it reflects broader tensions about how Canada should respond to international conflicts. The fact that over 400 Canadian athletes and academics felt compelled to take such a public stand demonstrates how deeply this issue resonates within Canadian society. As Friday approaches and the matches begin in that empty Halifax venue, one thing is certain. This Davis Cup tie will be remembered not for the tennis played, but for the questions it raised about the intersection of sports, politics, and public safety in our increasingly polarized world. So here's what I want to know. Do you think Tennis Canada made the right call? Should political conflicts be allowed to influence international sporting events? Or should sports remain a neutral ground where countries compete regardless of their political differences? And perhaps most importantly, where do we draw the line between legitimate safety concerns and allowing outside pressure to fundamentally change how we conduct international competitions? Share your thoughts. I have a feeling this debate is far from over,